gonna eat lightning, you're gonna crap thunder.
I'm Tex McQuilkin, the Director of Performance at Power Athlete, and welcome to Sweat the Detail, where we look at training montages, feats of strength, and displays of athleticism to help y'all understand, is this movie magic or something I can do right at home in my garage gym? Today we're talking about Rocky II. The first Rocky film to introduce the barbell and weight training into Rock's fight prep. The montage kicks off with a classic single arm push-up that we saw in the first film. This is an excellent tool, not for developing upper body strength or punch power. It's to test your stability within your trunk to take the punch that you do not see coming. Is this movie magic? No, but yes, because we only see Rocky using his left arm, and the Italian Stallion is a classic southpaw boxer. So what I want to see is an even number of reps between his left and his right. So we're testing for the balance within that athlete to see if there's a balance between their right and their left side here. How I want you to begin executing this is targeting specific muscle contractions, meaning I want you to hold an isometric at the top. So begin with that arm extended. Then you're going to target the eccentric, the lengthening portion. So from the top, I want you to lower down until what's known as a boiling point, and then concentric, that's going to be contraction of your muscle, press back up. Over time, you're going to get lower and lower on this movement until you're able to kiss the floor like Rocky here, and then eventually work up to that 50 rep mark. Next up, we have Rock hitting junk with a sledgehammer. This is an awesome old school form of athletic training for developing power that he will use in the ring. So his shoulders are rotating, his trunk is rotating, he needs to get into an awkward position and then express power dynamically. This is an awesome tool that you can utilize at home. Rather than just finding bits of junk to smash to pieces, I want you to pick up a tire. It's going to accentuate all of the positives that Rocky is using in creating power, rotating his body, and taking a heavy object and having to navigate through space with accuracy. But then, instead of just smashing junk to pieces, we have the added grip strength because that tire is going to bounce that hammer back, and I got to be able to use my arms, my grip, to slow down this hammer, load up, and get ready for the next rep. Is this movie magic? No way. This is an awesome tool, especially if I'm starting my garage gym. Next up, we have the single arm pull-up. It takes an incredible amount of strength to pull your body through space with a single arm. We're focusing on preparation for competition here and lengthening and strengthening all of the connective tissue for a fighter. We're not exercising for points, we're not doing circle pull-ups. It's all about tissue quality and health and identifying an imbalance between his strong and his weak arm. As you'll notice in the film, Rocky switches from a southpaw into a righty. This is awesome, and the preparation began with the single arm pull-up. Is this movie magic? No way. We can see his feet off the ground. CGI has not been invented yet. He's executing these movements. However, I want to see both the right and the left to see if there's any deficit going on for a fighter.
Give me your other hand!
Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand.
No! Get it away from me!
How I want you to begin utilizing this into your own training, just like our single arm push-up, we're going to start from the top. Get a supinated grip so your palm is facing your eyeballs. Grab that bar, take your opposite hand, hug your wrist. Then I want you to crawl, climb, get a buddy to push you to the top, and I want you to hold and fight for that position.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
Eventually, gravity is going to start to take over, and you're going to lower yourself down. You do not give up or quit there. Get as low as you can control. Then once you get to the boiling point, do your damnedest to pull back up. It's important to have a buddy there because they're going to accelerate your development because they can assist and lift the 1, 2, 10 pounds that you can't to get you to the top. Eventually, you're going to develop that strength and that control through your full range of motion on both your strong and your weak hand. Next up, we got Rocky's sit-up compilation. I'm not mad at these at all, but I want you to focus on the execution. So Rocky is hooked into some form of GHD or ankle lock, and that's where the powerful purpose comes for this movement, because he's building up the tension in the knees, in the quads, in his hips, in his trunk, and then he's able to execute and move his spine through space, whether it's twisting, reaching with those punches. And that tension, as it builds up, that's where the benefit is for not only a fighter, a boxer, but also you at home, because you're building that tension, you're prepared to take on more movements like front squats, front carries, or any yard work that you got to do at home. Now, if you do traditional sit-ups where I relax and just have my back flush with the ground before I reset and try to hitch myself up, that may get you the six-pack abs you're going to show off on your dating profile. However, it's not the tension and performance aspect that Rocky is utilizing these for. So is this movie magic? No way. But how I want you to accomplish this at home, you don't need this fancy piece of equipment. You can just set up in a pillar position, elbows and toes, and then perform an alternate hand reach. So now you have 1, 2, 3 points of contact with the ground. You're reaching now your opposite hand. So with that tension goes to 1, 2, 3. You're working on keeping your body level throughout. Next up, you can get into a side pillar position. We could get the rotation and the twist that we see Rocky doing going on by reaching the opposite hand tall for the sky, reaching for the backside, and then controlling to the top position.
45, 46, yeah, 47, 48, 49, 50.
Here we have it, the first weight training exercise in the Rocky franchise, and it is lateral dumbbell raises.
Oh, you see this guy? See this guy? Number one bullshit guy. He do the wee woo.
I would rather lead off with a big compound movement rather than this small accessory movement for my athletes. This is like going into a steak dinner anticipating a 28-day dry-aged Kobe tomahawk steak and receiving just a side salad. If you look closely, The Rock is using 35s, knocking these out, and if you listen in, his trainer is counting up to 50 reps. This is no easy feat, so props to our man here. However, what I want you to focus on when doing this, 50 reps, that's a lot.
Oh, it's a deep burn. Oh, it's so deep. Oh, I could barely lift my right arm because I did so many. I don't know if you heard me counting, I did over 1,000.
That targets specifically muscle endurance. When doing any form of weightlifting, pay attention to the sets and the reps, because the reps drive specific adaptations, whether it's power, strength, speed, hypertrophy, and in this case, muscle endurance. So I'm not sure if this is some Anchorman, Ron Burgundy rep counting trick, or they're targeting that high rep count for muscle endurance. Even then, 50 reps is very high. How I want you to begin this at home, just grab 5-pound plates and see how many reps you can get in a row. If you're upward towards the 50 range, then grab 10s and so on, but anywhere closer to 15 to 30 reps, that's an excellent range to accomplish what Rocky is getting after with this set of 50. The montage continues with Rocky running through the park. He finds a log, picks it up, puts it on his back, drops his ass down into some duck walks and some frog hops. And whether he realizes it or not, he's backing his way into some lactate buffering, some occlusion training. Because this form of suffering and mental toughness is exactly what a fighter needs. There's also a physiological benefit. When our ass drops below our knees, we start to pool blood within that quad and get a lot of hormone release. It's very similar to BFR training. You can see Rock fight through this during his hops, and then he throws that log off him. He quits. But knowing Rocky's mental toughness, he gets his ass underneath that log again and starts getting into some duck walks. So he's fighting through the lactate buffering, that acidic buildup that any athlete in a long bout is going to experience. This form of lactate tolerance training is awesome for utilizing in training at your home gym. You don't need a log to accomplish it. Get a sandbag, bear hug that, get kettlebells in the rack position. Whatever you gotta do, I want you to drop your ass below your knees, trying to shut off and pool blood within those quads, and then do little movements like our frog hops or our duck walks there. Set a timer, fight for it from 20 seconds, throw those weight down, and then do something explosive and dynamic and see how it affects your coordination, similar to as a fighter would need to navigate space following big burn that they're fighting through in the long rounds throughout the fight. I'm glad we're introducing the barbell for the first time in franchise history, and the movement they selected was a front to back shoulder press. So the benefits of a shoulder press with the bar starting on the shoulder is going to be upper body strength and then overall shoulder health when going through a full range of motion. What we see Rock doing here is shortchanging his range of motion. He's going back behind his head and he's risking it all with the execution of this movement. I'm going with movie magic here, and I think the director just picked it because he thinks it looks cool versus the benefits for our fighter and the safety, complete neglect of the safety of our fighter here. You'll see beside me, I have a squat rack with safety pins. If I'm ever going heavy, whether it's pressing, squatting, or anything overhead, where all the money maker, the important stuff, is at risk, I need safety pins here so that I can dump and load and get rid of that weight and protect myself from injury. I also, if I look closely, Rocky's grip, he's using what's called a suicide grip, meaning his thumbs are not wrapped around that bar. He doesn't have a strong grip on this bar. So if he gets tired, fatigued, he loses focus because he's driving, he's pushing so hard that he could lose that grip overhead. A lot going on for an athlete that I'm not willing to risk as a coach in guiding you here. So I would have thumb wrapped around that bar, I'm taking away the overhead, and I need you to go through your full range of motion so we get the optimal benefit of this lift. Here's something I want you to hold on to. Weight should challenge your lifting technique, never change your lifting technique. What that means, if it starts to get too heavy and I jerk back or my body goes one way, we see a shift between the left and the right arm. Weight should challenge the best execution of my ability. It should also not take away from your full range of motion. This goes for presses, squats, anything. If the weight is causing me to stop and shortchange my full range of motion, we're going too heavy here, especially when it comes to barbell movements. So if I can set up with an empty barbell and go through my full range of motion, I'm going to start to add weight, whether it's a press, whether it's a squat, to challenge my full range of motion and not start to shortchange myself like Rocky's trainers are allowing him to do right here.
Listen, I want you to try, listen to me. I want you to try to chase this little chicken.
Oh, what do I gotta chase a chicken for? It's embarrassing, you know?
First, because I said so. And second, because chicken chasing is how we always used to train in the old days.
Yeah.
You catch this thing, you can catch grease lightning.
Next up, we're having a lot of fun because Rocky is chasing a chicken. Little does Rocky know, there's a lot of benefits that are going to carry over to the ring. Orientation, change of direction, balance, reactive ability, all good things that a fighter needs. And he's focusing on that opponent, that chicken, just going after him, not worrying about anything but having some fun and catching that little guy. I would say 100% movie magic, because it's a fun chicken scene. I would love to know how many outtakes it took Rocky or how long that it took Rocky to actually catch this chicken, but the training benefits are all awesome. If you don't have a chicken at home, you can pick yourself up a little balloon, hitting this up in the air and trying to chase it down, moving your feet, trying to get out there, especially if it's a windy day. And then you're practicing all the orientation, the balance, all the benefits that Rocky had when he was chasing that chicken. Try to do this at the end of your training when you are most fatigued, forcing yourself to work the hardest when your mind is focusing on the balloon, but your body is focusing on orientation and navigating through space. Try to do this once a week. It is a fun way to practice agility without going all out, and who knows, you may have to pop a few balloons to get there.
Good.
Finally, our montage concludes with the most iconic scene from the movie, Rocky running through Philadelphia, this time picking up a whole gang of kids along the way, leading to the famous Rocky steps and the celebration at the top. Famous in the fighting community is this pounding of the pavement. I want to throw a question out there. What is the purpose of all this? Is it a rite of passage? Is it developing mental toughness? Is it for the cardiovascular benefits of that distance running? What are we doing this for? Identifying that purpose is very important because there are a lot of negative things that come with distance running that could take away from my fighter's ability to do everything else that's important. I'm talking shin splints, stress fractures, plantar fasciitis, things going on with the knee, very prevalent in the endurance running community that I don't want to take away from my fighter's ability to be strong, powerful, and fit.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
So if the purpose is mental toughness and conditioning, what's a more practical, prudent way for me to accomplish these? Swimming, having bike training protocols where I can control the rest and the work ratios and have a targeted development of my conditioning rather than just, hey, get out there and run. So what's the performance score for Rocky 2? I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because there are a lot of takeaways that I'm going to bring into my training at home. Sledgehammer strikes, single arm training, chasing chickens, all fun stuff that enhances my athleticism and movement overall. At Power Athlete, we sweat the details so you don't have to. To optimize your workouts at home, head to powerathletehq.com/training. Is this movie magic or something I could do right at home in my garage gym? One more. I don't know where that garage.
Why did you have the
I don't know.